Welcome to the Thencomeslove podcast. We're your host. I'm Wendell. This is my lovely wife, Anidra. I've missed you today, and I've missed you all. Glad to be here with you all. Today, we are talking about boundaries.
Yes,
Boundaries.
we are talking about boundaries and the price that you pay when those boundaries are crossed. So let's talk about
Yes.
it. All right, babe. We're talking about boundaries, and when we first got married, I'm sure many of you can relate to this. But when we got married, there are things that we said that we wouldn't do. So there are things like, for instance, we talked about we wouldn't. Okay, I know there are some that who believe this, but we said we weren't gonna do no male and no girlfriends. Okay,
Yeah, we say that. I'm just playing. Yeah, no male, no girlfriend, no
we
third
weren't gonna do
parties.
that. That's right.
It's just you and me. Not you, me, and her.
That's right. You ain't gonna have no female best friends, especially if she wasn't your friend before we got together.
Right.
But even still, I don't think
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah. Nah.
But that's a whole nother topic. But we have boundaries. We
Right.
said that there were things that we wouldn't do. What are some things that you?
We decided that we weren't going to entertain pornography in our marriage. I know some people who probably think that that's okay as long as you're together. That won't us. So we weren't going to do pornography. We weren't going to do clubs or anything like that. Like, because we knew that, especially in that time, the only reason people were going to the clubs at our age was to get a woman or to get somebody. And so we had each other, so that wasn't a need for that. So what else is the boundaries of, like we talked about, being alone with women. Like, I know you had a girlfriend to come see you and you weren't home. She don't need to be up in my house.
Okay.
Even
Vice versa.
And so much so that your sister, who is my sister, it took me a few years just to get to how I hug her. I never forget. I mean, the first time Mimi and I had to hug after we got married. We pulled up to the car. She was like, "Do we hug?" Bye. I didn't know what because there's just boundaries. I ain't trying to
that's
mess one
right.
up.
That's right. And to the point, like even people who were your boys and they were my friends.
Right.
But if they ever came to the house and you were not home, you gonna be sitting outside because we don't want to give room for anything.
Right. I mean, so when you first get married, a lot of us we go through marital counselings. We sit down and they give us the do's and the don'ts, and we was like, "Yeah, I got you, Pastor. We'll never do this, and we'll never do that. We got it all down pat. Don't worry about it. We know what to do and what not to do, and that's the case in most marriages. In most marriages, we know what to do and what not to do. But when you get down to the nitty gritty of it all,
Never say never.
never. I will never say never. That song? Anyway, but yeah, never say never. You're right about that.
Yeah, because it can definitely happen, and if you are not, I want to say if you're not prepared for it, if you have not established a relationship or what am I trying to say? If you have not established that rule with your spouse that, hey, if that boundary comes up, that if it's crossed, that we communicate about it. If you haven't opened that door for real honesty,
Sure.
then that's how that when that boundary is crossed, how it can cost you.
Yeah, you took my word. I was going to say that. The lines of communication have to be clear between the two of us, and we have to be okay with the accountability. So, for instance, if I say, hey, my friend such and such, he's going to a club, but my favorite artist is there. I just want to hear them sing. I ain't going to be doing that. But we hit boundaries. So when you say, nah, babe, and you don't need to be going, it's not that, oh, she said I can't go. It's not about that. We set boundaries. And this is what we said, how we want to do our marriage. And so you just holding me accountable if that was the case.
Yeah,
and so I think a lot of times we make exceptions for boundaries. And it's a boundary for a reason. It's a boundary for a reason.
So we both have to we both have to agree.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we said we weren't going to do pornography in our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That's because, and there was a reason for that, because it leads to other things.
Yeah.
You're gonna watch something on television, and sooner or later, you watching it on television is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna want to try it for yourself. And so, is that fair enough?
Yeah,
to
I mean,
say?
yeah.
So boundaries are, like you said, boundaries are there for a reason, but you both have to agree if that something is going to change about that boundary. Now, I do know there are people who that's a part of their whole sexual thing. They want to watch pornography together. So let's say that we decided that in the beginning of our marriage that we're not going to watch pornography, but then somebody changes their mind.
Mm-hmm.
So if and we're using pornography as an example, but it could be friends that it's okay that if Mike comes over, not you, Mike, but he knows what I'm talking about. But if it's okay that Mike comes over, then I have to have that conversation with you, and you have to say it's okay.
Sure.
And like you said, if we both don't agree, then that boundary is still in place. It's not fair to say that one spouse is okay with it and the other one is not.
Right.
We both have to be in agreement about that boundary.
Mm-hmm.
So today we want to talk about the boundaries and how sometimes they are crossed. You know how something can start off very small. We'll continue on the path, the example of pornography. We said that we were not going to watch pornography, but you go over your friend's house and they have it on and you watch it. Or you're sitting in your car doing your lunch break and you're just scrolling on your phone and something pops up, and instead of scrolling past, you entertain it for a few minutes.
Sure.
Those boundaries can sneak up on you, or maybe I should say they turn into cracks in the foundation of your marriage. They become secrets. Mm-hmm. And, it was only, a few minutes that you watch, but you don't communicate to your spouse that you watched it. Mm-hmm. Now that's a crack in the foundation of your marriage.
Yeah, no, that's accurate, for sure. They become cracks in the foundation of your marriage, and the more you entertain it, the more it feels okay, the more it feels normalized, and the more it's like you're making excuses as to why this is okay. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, if I watch Nita, she don't ever want to do nothing when I want to do nothing. She seems tired. If I watch this over here, you know what I'm saying? This may benefit both of us in that, because she ain't got to worry about me, and I can go over here and do what I want to do. You start to talk yourself into foolishness.
Making excuses
for why it's okay and why you can continue to do what you do. And so, it's when you start normalizing stuff that from the beginning that you're not supposed to do, that's when you give the enemy a door to really mess up your marriage and really possibly even ruin your life.
And I would even go as far to say as you think you can handle it. You think that you can handle that secret and not saying anything, but there is a weight to that.
Yeah.
There's a weight to keeping those secrets from your spouse, and then it's something about when they are exposed versus you being honest about what you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. Because when they're exposed, I mean, that's the price that you have to pay, because it can be lethal. Yeah. To not only to your spouse, but it's a domino effect. Versus when you're honest, it doesn't. Not that it won't be hurtful in some way, but when you're honest about it, at least I know that I can trust you. But when it's exposed, that means, you lied about it. You continued to lie. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that you were honest about it and told me about it. You got caught. Yeah. And so now I'm trying to earn back your trust. And it's hurtful. Yeah. So there is a price to pay when you allow secrets in your relationship. And we talked about this a little bit last week. Talked about let's normalize the things that we're going through and be honest about where we are, because they can be hurtful. Mm-hmm. But we're speaking about these boundaries and these secrets for a reason.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're speaking about them for a reason. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we walk through And I know in my life, with around the time we got married, pornography was like fresh and new. Like, I mean, other than getting videotapes from your friend, I mean, on your phone, to have it on your phone, that was something crazy at that time. And I remember I was exposed to that, and it became a thing. And I know that I don't. Okay, I had a friend, and he told me something. I don't know how true it is, but I'm gonna tell y'all how it is. I had a friend of mine who we used to live in New Jersey, and he's an older gentleman, and he was a teenager in the '80s, do the crack epidemic. He told me that he used to be hooked on crack like 20 something years ago. It was hard for him, and then he said years, about 20 something, 25 years later, he got a call. He had to go pick up his brother who was in the crack house. And so he said he had to go to the crack house to get his brother. And he said when he walked in the room, he said he could smell the crack in the air. He said, and then he said when he smelled it, he got the shakes. It was like he got the itches all over, got the shakes. Now he hadn't been around it for like 25 years, but the minute he was exposed to it, his body started to want that again. He started to react. And so it's like, hey, I have an addiction. Just because you haven't been around it or you're not into it anymore, that doesn't mean that you can't easily fall back in it. That's how I look at pornography. I could be away from pornography for 25 years, but start playing with it. I mean, it's almost like how he was with crack. It starts to affect you immediately. And so for us, that was always a strong suit. So yeah, during that time, we were dealing with that. I was young. My friends were out there telling me all the stories that they were doing, all the shenanigans they were getting into. All the parties they were going to, all the girls they had, and you start to think, hey man, maybe I'm missing out on something. At this point, I'm with her, and we arguing over who gonna change this diaper. I don't know, whatever it was we were talking about, but it was just a real thing. And so we started to think, hey, we're missing out on some things. And so I would start to entertain these things, and wanted to hang out with the fellas and be single and or experience being an adult and having the adult life. And then so we started to dabble into that a little bit, hanging out with the guys. And when I'm hanging out, and we said we said that we wouldn't hang out with the guys as much because, again, at the time they were all single and they only were trying to get one thing. But I still hung out with them, not a lot, but I did have an opportunity to hang out with them. And I wish I could say to you, I always did the right thing, but no, that was just opening a little bit of doors. Just yeah.
Yeah, and that was, and I can't remember how that all came out, but I do remember being, I'm going to use the word disappointed, and I was hurt by it just because that was a boundary that we said that we wouldn't cross. And so I felt like it just made me feel like I wasn't enough for you. That you had to do that. But I didn't. One of the things I will say is that I didn't. At least I hope I didn't make you feel a certain way about being honest with me about it.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And again, it's a part of maturing still and growing up, being a kid, not making any excuses for it, but to see something you ain't ever seen before was just jaw dropping. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I would say, for me, my moment that the boundary was crossed for me was year 7 for us. And that was the year that I had to tell Wendell that I had been unfaithful. And I remember I can speak about the weight of a secret because I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to think, oh, I did this and I'm gonna carry it to the grave. And not tell him because I don't want him to be hurt by it. But it is a weight that is a very heavy weight to carry. When you know that you have betrayed their trust, whether it's pornography, whether it's infidelity, no matter what it is, no matter how big or small it is. And yes, I don't need anybody to tell me that was the ultimate no. That was the thing that I said I would never do. And it happened. And I remember just the sickening feeling of I've done something and I've done something that that can destroy our marriage. Pornography, we can work through that. But infidelity, that was one I knew that was going to be hard to walk through. But I remember sitting down on the couch one day and feeling like I could not hold this secret anymore. And that even if it was, I had to trust God enough that I felt a conviction to be honest. And so I felt like, okay, God, if I'm going to follow your lead on this, and I'm going to trust you enough that there is nothing that you can't fix, there's nothing that you can't redeem, then I can trust you enough to be honest with him and hope that our marriage is going to be okay. And it was bumpy.
Man, use different words. How bumpy? It was something. Yeah, it definitely was.
It was bumpy. It was very bumpy. Yeah.
But I'll say this. And this happened
over 20 years ago.
Over 20-some years ago. And
or was it 20? About
it was 20
years
20 years ago. And the signs was there. The signs were there. Like I said, you would go out with your friends and you'd be gone. And I knew though that it's not right. It wasn't like a big shot. It was like I knew, but I just didn't care. I felt like if she want to do this, do it. For me, in my mind, I thought, sure, that's my way out because I'm tired, and that's what she wanted. That's what she want to go do. Go do it. I'm good. I'm still young. Yada yada yada. And then go ahead.
And for me, I wanted you to fight for me.
Sure.
And so I wanted you to fight for me in that. And so I don't know if I felt like you knew, but I don't think I knew that much. Maybe I did at the time. I can't remember. But I wanted you to care, and I wanted you to fight for me. But you probably felt that you, as we shared in the first episode, you fought for me.
Yeah.
For all of those years.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I ain't fighting no more.
It's like, what else do I have to do? I guess my attitude is that you gonna love me, you don't. And if that's the case, at least you let me know now while I'm still young. Forget what God said. This ain't working. But when it happened, of course, you tell me, and I was like, devastated, upset, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you think my normal reaction would be, a normal reaction. And I remember just, I really thought that you just didn't want to be married to me anymore. So I was just like, just forget it. And I remember leaving for a while to get some space because, it might not have been a safe place to be in that moment. And I remember this part. It was true. I went to, I think it was your mother-in-law's. Your mother's house, just to get some time away. And this is true. I don't know what your belief is. I'm just gonna tell you what happened to me when she did that. I went to lay down. This is probably, I don't know, maybe a day or so later. I went to lay down to take a nap to fall asleep. When I was sleeping, I heard somebody whisper into my ear. And it was the voice that in my ear said, "You're going to die a virgin." And then he began to laugh in my ear. And I began to wake up. I didn't see anything. I couldn't move. My body was stuck. I couldn't move. And he's laughing in my ear. And what I understood that to be was, like, I knew that clearly I wasn't a virgin. I had 3 kids with this woman. But it was like, I felt it was the enemy egging me and encouraging me to retaliate. I felt that it was the enemy saying, "Look what she did, man. Come on, man. You're a joke. Retaliate." And instantly I knew what that meant. It was almost like if God was allowing me to hear what the enemy was trying to do in our marriage. And if you love something enough, you definitely will fight for it. So because of that, it was like God exposed the enemy to me, and I was just like, we're gonna make this thing work. Now, it was not easy, and and then that my attitude in the moment was great in the moment, but like a couple hours later, a couple days later, I was terrible to her. So it was like up and down, up and down, up and down. We're trying to live as godly people now. So just like our marriage, just like my relationship with God at the point was up and down. I love you, I hate you. I love you, you make me sick. Up and down, up and down. So it kind of was a season of just being unhealthy, and what got us through it though, I must say, is the foundation that we had in our relationship with Jesus Christ. That's just a fact. That's how we got through it, and so this is why we're here today, is because there is nothing that you can't overcome with Christ, and so that's why we're here.
And we realized that, we had for 7 years. I mean, of course, when we first started out, doing things the right way. And I think the more challenges that happen, the struggles, the money, the kids right away, just the different challenges we faced, it became, it weighed on us very heavily on us. And I think we started doing things our own way.
Yeah.
And that's where we messed up at. So for the majority of those 7 years of our marriage, we moved further and further away from the things of God, even though we knew that's what we were supposed to do. And so when this happened, we realized it was a wake-up call for us.
Sure.
We had hit rock bottom. We were, not only did I have to say this, we got evicted from our place. At the same time, I remember our boys, Soren and Kai, getting, very sick. And Kai had to be admitted into the hospital. We hit the lowest of the low. And I think sometimes God does that, allows you to hit rock bottom, as I read Tony Evans say one in one of his books that I have, is sometimes God allows you to hit rock bottom so that you can see who the rock is at the bottom.
That's good.
And it was in that moment that we realized, okay, we can no longer do this on our own, and we had to change the way we were doing things. And as hard as it is to I think it's safe to say sometimes to do the things that you should do, because it's hard, meaning in the flesh.
Sure.
The world won't understand it. It doesn't make sense to everybody else. But you have to keep doing the things of God, because at the end of the day, that's going to be the only thing that sustains you, the only thing that's going to work. Yeah. And so we realize that no matter how hard it is for us, we're going to have to continue to do the things that we know that God has told us to do. Yeah. So we had to change things. So that means we had to go to church.
Sure.
And that's something even our kids to this day know that is non-negotiable. We have to go to church, and it's not about just going to church, but we have to have that personal relationship with the Lord. Yeah. Individually, but also, as a couple, it's important for us to have that. Then the second thing I would say for us too, we had to realize that we had to be honest with each other, no matter how hard it is. So now a boundary for us is we share everything. There are no secrets that we keep, no matter how big, no matter how small, even to the point, like even for me, because I think at some point we told you that I love to spend money. And so even with that, sometimes I have to be like, hey, babe, is it okay if I buy this, or is it okay? I don't even want to sneak around with that. I don't want to give the enemy a foothold with anything. So we're very honest, because I think if only we could have been honest before the pornography.
Sure.
If we could have been honest before the infidelity, we could have saved ourselves years worth of hardship.
Sure. And and the healing process was not overnight. There was a huge mess that we made, and so it took a while for it to get cleaned up, for it to get fixed. So yeah, and like I said, it took time, and it took a lot to get it back. But we sit here microphones in front of us. And I know you may be watching me like, why in the world are y'all telling all your business, right? Because it's important for us to expose the enemy and to let him know that you didn't win, and to let him know, because what he wants to do a lot of times is remind you. And now this happened over 20 years, but he's still, you know, remember, hey, this happened in your marriage, hey, and this is what happened. You know, you let that happen, and you're not a man. You know, you're not this, you're not that. And so we expose it, and we want to expose him because he's a liar, and we want to let you know and everyone else know that this lady here is my world. And so we just want to let you know, no matter what you're going through, no matter what the hurt is, there's light at the end of every tunnel. You know, if you're willing to go through the fire with that person, you'll come out the other end looking like gold. So.
And I just there's so much that we can share about this, and I think we should dig a little bit deeper with things that we still deal with. I mean, I can think about the insecurity that came with it. I can think about the trust that had to be rebuilt that comes with that. I can just think about so many things, about even just how you feel even now, 20 something years later, the embarrassment. Just thinking that the embarrassment for you, the embarrassment for me, the shame, I'll say, for me, there's so many things that come with it that we can't even put into a 25-minute episode.
Yeah.
But I would love to explore that a little bit more, because that was the issue, that we didn't have anybody at the time that we could talk to about that. And I'm sure there's some of you who are going through that, who are going through infidelity, or maybe it's just it's some secret that maybe it's not infidelity, maybe it's something else that you've been holding on to that your spouse doesn't know about. And you just like, I don't know what to do with this. I would tell you to be honest. Yeah. Be honest, be transparent, and don't give the enemy a foothold. So,
and I know, real quick, I just want to say this. I feel important is to say this. It is never too late to set boundaries in your marriage. I don't care if you've been married 30 years and, hey, my wife, she goes out, my husband goes out, he does this, he does that, he does this. There has to be a time where you have to come together as husband and wife and say, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And like I said, people change all the time. You know, hey, when we first got married, you were this way and you was that way. Well, she's not that way anymore. So now you got to come together and find out, hey, in order for us to be successful as husband and wife, this is what we have to have in our marriage. These boundaries must be set. And so I would encourage everyone to do that. I mean, every so often, we may have to visit what boundaries we need to do.
Because you get comfortable.
Yeah, and so I just want to let you know that, that's very important. And none of us have it all together. None of us have all the answers, and that's why we're here.
Yeah. So we're going to continue to talk about our mess and how God took us from that mess to where we are today. And so we're living proof that no matter what you walk through, there's nothing that God can't redeem. There's nothing that he can't restore. And so we hope that you'll share, with somebody that you know who's going through this, who needs to be encouraged. And we hope that we can be an encouragement to you.
We'll be silly next time. We had a serious one this time. We'll be silly next time, y'all.
Yeah. All right. So make sure you join us next week for our next episode on Then Comes Love.